It's the business roundup right here on UBC. We are still in the budget month, and as BRU we have dedicated enough time for deciphering the budget priorities. To the highlights, Uganda Revenue Authority to prioritize bridging gap between the entity and taxpayers. Business community advised to utilize digital platforms to reach more customers. Standard Chartered Bank unveils Shilingi Fund's digital saving service. And on the regional scene, Malawi becomes the 6th Central Corridor member state. We have rich content for you, so don't touch the dial. It's time for business. I'm your host, Denis Sigoa. Uganda Revenue Authority is prioritizing bridging of the gap between the entity and taxpayers as a catalyst to widen the tax base. The Commissioner General, URA, John Msinguzi, affirmed the tax body's continued commitment to improve tax collection during a post-budget engagement. Let's have a look.
The Ministry of Finance has called upon Uganda Revenue Authority to popularize the 2023-24 budget in order to encourage the public's full participation.
Ministries, departments and agencies and local governments, civil society, development partners, the private sector, the academia and the community leaders. This indicates an all-inclusive budget involving stakeholders responsible for making critical economic decisions in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, the goal of the budget for financial year 2023-2024 and over the medium term is to accelerate inclusive and green socio-economic transformation.
With Uganda Revenue Authority tasked to collect 29.7 trillion during the financial year 2023-24, voluntary disclosure and alternative dispute resolution, among others, are among the measures geared at improving tax collection.
Also the approach, the suspicion, the attitude towards one another must change. For the right reasons, some taxpayers have noted us as tough, harsh, ruthless people who just want to take your money and do not care about the improvement of your businesses. This attitude or conception we must improve. We cannot allow that to go on and expect to have a good relationship with our taxpayers. And of course, at the back of our minds, if we have to be honest, we also have some suspicions about taxpayers. We think they don't want to pay, they only pay when you catch them.
Muhammad Nsereko, Member of Parliament, Kampala Central, wants government to better service delivery, especially in the urban areas.
Everyone who goes to a country, they are looking for the capital city. But the roads and the infrastructure right now in our capital city does not reflect the image that Uganda sells. Let's first work on our capital. We have the non-aligned movement coming in. Over 90 heads of state and government have confirmed being here in December.
With Uganda's tax to GDP ratio currently at about 13%, the tax body faces an uphill task of stimulating more revenue collection in order to accelerate Uganda's socio-economic transformation. Marion Awori and Crispus Arinitwe, UBC.
Relatedly, the Private Sector Foundation Uganda has engaged micro, small and medium enterprises on matters regarding the upcoming national budget priorities.
Speaking at the Private Sector Post-Budget Dialogue, Issa Sechito, the spokesperson for the Kampala City Traders Association, CACITA, and PSFU's board chairperson, Policy Committee, revealed a significant development for businesses struggling due to the pandemic.
As a result of COVID and other challenges, many businesses faced issues with payment of taxes at principal level. And by so failing, they attracted penalties, fines, and interest. I thank the government of Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, that the government has accepted to waive these.
The government has agreed to waive interest and penalties on tax areas owed to the Uganda Revenue Authority till December 2023.
We have been writing request letters to the Commissioner General, to the Minister of Finance, and finally to the President. So the issue was not trivial, the issue was very pertinent, because despite that people have failed to pay even principal taxes that they are being demanded in different formats, then the taxes attract interest, fines and penalties.
This relief measure will provide the much-needed financial respite to enterprises affected by the unprecedented challenges brought about by the pandemic. During the meeting, PSFU also discussed budget allocations earmarked for the private sector and proposed recommendations to the government. Some of the key priorities highlighted included the establishment of a labor supply and demand database to address unemployment challenges, a proposal to reduce electricity tariffs for industries, and a call for Uganda Airlines to prioritize cargo operations.
Regarding regional integration, we propose to ratify the trade agreement to actualize the existing opportunities. We proposed to develop the private sector strategy for implementation of the Africa Free Continental Trade Area. We also proposed to engage the East African Secretariat to activate the East African Dispute Settlement Mechanism and address the non-tariff barriers that are hurting our business community across the Kenyan border, Southern Sudan, and DRC and Rwanda.
PSFU's efforts in facilitating a deeper understanding of the national budget priorities among MSMEs are expected to foster an environment conducive to sustainable business growth and development. By advocating for the interests of the private sector and promoting initiatives that address the needs of the businesses.
Our only encouragement to the business people is now to them getting prepared, because it has an expiry period. And because it is on a pro rata approach kind of incentive, if you reach the deadline of 30th December, midway the financial year, before you have covered the principal, then it will not apply on you.
PSFU aims to bolster Uganda's private sector growth while creating a favorable business climate for all. Wadulo Makanold, UBC News, in Kampala.
Digital platforms provide unlimited growth opportunities for Uganda's business community. However, experts are concerned about the digital road ahead and want more efforts directed towards unlocking the potential of Uganda's digital economy. Micro, small and medium enterprises are being asked to leverage on the digital technologies to reach more customers and in turn spur growth.
If you don't change, definitely you are going to lose out on some market. Because if you are used on a walk-ins, people are seated at home and able to say, okay, this is what I can be able to offer, and we make connections and the product is delivered at home. So if you sit in your shop and wait for on a walk-ins, then there is a big market you are missing out. Of course, this is where we are saying that we understand the challenges of these enterprises. Some of them are not able to be able to use these gadgets. And we are encouraging these enterprises to be able to use maybe some of these use to be able to say, if you have maybe 3 workers, you can hire a university student or somebody who is well versed with these technological gadgets to be able to say, okay, I can be able to log in Instagram, I can be able to create for you an account, I can be able to use another platform or be able to deal with any kind of e-commerce channel, and I be able to upload your products.
This was observed at a digital economic dialogue organized by the Innovation Village and the Federation of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises in Kampala. Digital techs offer small and medium enterprises with opportunities to streamline processes, access new markets, improve efficiency, and enhance customer experience.
We're looking at that gentleman, we're looking at their businesses, we're looking at the small hairdresser up country. How do we digitalize their business? What are their friction points with URA? It's coming up quite a lot. With policymakers, how can technology smooth that friction? The opportunity is very big. The minds are there. The solutions are there. We just need to bring them together.
This whole thing around digital is meant to unlock you so that Your customers just call you. They don't come to your shop, but they call you, please deliver security. They see you online and they make orders. That's part of the push. But we're also trying to unlock other platforms, TVs and so on. But what I can tell you is social media and digital are game changers. You shouldn't take this as a joke. So that's why we are saying through this collaboration, we want to support you.
Micro, small and medium enterprises account for approximately 90% of Uganda's business sector and 75% of private sector employment. Despite the sector's position, players complain about high taxation, high interest rates on loans and skyrocketing costs of running a business, among others.
The biggest roadblock is URA, who doesn't understand that I'm no longer making profits, but losses, and they want tax on losses. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a specialist in taxes, though I studied a bit of taxation, to see how do you pay URA when you are making losses. I asked them, should I close the business? They said, no, continue. I continue, I get 500 shillings on a bottle, and they want 6,000. And they said, it's okay, continue. So me, I pay the little profit, I share my profit of 500. I calculate and give them what is good for them. But for them, it keeps on penalties, interests. It is now coming to $1 billion. Just imagine the
A recent survey conducted by the Federation of Small and Medium Enterprises among the small and medium enterprises on the constraints of digital transformation revealed that most businesses in Uganda do not consider digitization as a priority. It highlights that devices pose challenges for operation, data and internet costs remain high, and the regulatory landscape remains a stumbling block. Denis Sigoa for UBC Business. Still on digital matters, Ugandans have been urged to develop a savings culture in order to improve household incomes, facilitate investment, and contribute to the country's economic and social development. The call was made at the launch of Standard Chartered Bank's Shilingi Fund's digital savings service.
Uganda's gross national savings currently stand at 17.9%. This is largely attributed to lack of financial literacy, limited job opportunities, and a poor savings culture.
We, as Ugandans and people who live in this country, we should embrace a saving culture. I think many of us earn and consume whatever we earn. Here the message is, even when you earn very little, even if you are selling banana leaves in the market, however little your income at the end of the day is, you can still save, and it is this saving that will contribute to the national wealth and the socio-economic transformation we dream of as a country.
This lack of financial preparedness has led to the launch of a digital savings application. With returns of up to 12%, Standard Chartered Shilingi Fund's digital service aims at not only providing financial services to the last mile person, but also widening the scope of savers.
Using technology, you can open your account in your own convenience, but also gives the best returns that Ugandans have ever seen. At the moment, as of today, of course, it is market-led. The interest, as you saw online, was about 12% for the product. There's not many savings products that give you anything close to this. What is very unique is that Standard Chartered normally is being associated with an international bank. We only deal with the rich. Now, this is a good message from us. We are here for good, we are here for Uganda, we are here for the nation, and we are here for the masses in Uganda.
In a country whose citizens' saving culture is dismal, investment in technology is crucial in bridging the gap towards increased savings and economic development.
For every service we have to provide now, technology has to be an integral part of that service. Whether it means improving healthcare, technology has to be at the center. Whether it means improving agriculture and productivity, technology has to be at the center. We need to digitize, we need to address issues of connectivity from corner to corner so that technology becomes part and parcel of our everyday life.
With only about 54% of Ugandans saving regularly, efforts to improve development ought to be invested in leveraging financial services to increase productivity, incomes and employment, access to basic needs and overall economic growth. Charlotte Amuge for UBC Business.
The National Social Security Fund and Uganda National Roads Authority have partnered to sensitize contractors in the road sector. This is aimed at exploring intricacies, opportunities, implications, and compliance guidelines associated with the NSSF Amendment Act 2022.
The National Social Security Fund, in partnership with Uganda National Roads Authority, have had a two-day sensitization workshop targeting the contractors in the road sector. Held in Kampala, the engagement graced by the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development sought to create awareness of the fund's mandate, obligations and the rights as per the law.
Non-compliance play a major role in undermining the government efforts to extend social protection universally. We shall therefore start implementing specific strategies to achieve the intended results of expanding coverage and increasing compliance. In both cases, there's a heavy reliance on strategic partnership.
This follows the amendment of the NSSF Act 2022, whereby all registered businesses need to comply and contribute for their employees. Although road contractors tend to have many employees, they have often been faulted for abusing the rights of their workers.
Contractors under UNRWA, an assessment has been done, and we've noted that compliance rate with construction companies stands at only 40%. The 40% means that for every 10 workers, 6 do not have social security coverage.
Much of our inability to collect tax is exacerbated by the depth of informality of our economy, including hiring workers without contracts, and many of us, I think, fall in this category, paying them in cash rather than through the formal financial systems.
The road sector stakeholders were taken through some of the penalties associated with non-compliance to the NSSF Act. They include, in the case of failure to remit the employees' contributions, the fund can institute criminal or civil proceedings in the magistrate's court, and all sums due to the fund can be recovered as a civil debt.
Focus on enabling a saving culture for all your employees and subcontractors. The biggest asset you have is not the machine. It may cost $1 billion, but that's not the largest asset you have. The driver of that machine is the largest asset you have, because he can mess the machine up in a minute. If you do not make it worth his while to work for you, in the way you treat him, you remunerate him, you help him save, then you'll find that that big machine becomes dormant or messed up. So help your employees so that you can develop a saving culture. And why is it important? Because we know that when we save, it's good for the economy. And when it's good for the economy, it's good for your business.
The fund intends to grow social security coverage across the country from 10% to 50% by 2035 by increasing willingness to serve through education, awareness and partnerships. Charlotte Amuge for UBC Business.
On the regional scene, Malawi has acceded to the Central Corridor Agreement, becoming the 6th member state. This was at a ceremony held in Burundi's capital, Bujumbura. Malawi joining is seen as a major achievement in growing inter-African trade. Inter-regional trade in Africa is expected to grow faster following the full implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. But for the continent to realize the projected growth of $450 billion by 2035, a statistic by World Bank, and increase exports by more than 81%, much needs to be done. This was observed at the 12th Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency's Interstate Council of Ministers meeting held at Kiriri Garden Hotel in Bujumbura, Burundi.
Now, it is estimated that the journey that it takes to travel in this region is actually twice the actual travel time. This journey sometimes is unnecessarily due to long bureaucratic demands of different permits, often based on bilateral arrangements, and multitude of documentation from country to country. The other factor, of course, that makes them the delay worse is the border posts, the weight bridges, and the checkpoints.
Non-tariff barriers which we impose on our traders. I think the new delegate from from Malawi, highly talked about this, and we need to address them so that our corridor becomes attractive to the transporters and traders to maximally utilized.
The major highlights of this meeting were Malawi signing a treaty as the 6th member state of the corridor and the handover of the rotating chairmanship from Uganda to Burundi.
From the next financial year, can I assure you that we will operate also in Malawi. Malawi was a missing link for the Central Corridor, but now we are going there, and from Malawi we will connect to the Republic of Zambia, and from Zambia we can join the Democratic Republic of Congo, but also we can join the Republic of Tanzania.
I take this opportunity to thank Malawi for its commitment and its intention to join the organization, and I invite also the Zambia to do the same. I would like that for the next Interstate Council of Ministers meeting, you are invited as full members and not observers. By doing so, you will be joining the other member countries of the Central Corridor who are constantly investing in order to ensure connectivity.
And as we head into the next chairmanship, we can only be even happier having a woman lead us. It is definitely going to be a good year, and we pledge our support to make sure that the vision that you have for the corridor is alive and fruitful. And we hope that the year is going to be even more fruitful.
The port of Dar es Salaam is the principal port of the Central Corridor with a rated capacity of 14.1 million metric tons dry cargo and 6 million metric tons bulk liquid cargo. Tanzania's permanent secretary of the Ministry of Transport, Gabriel Migire, highlighted infrastructural projects that are underway to support transport.
On Lake Victoria, we are also planning to build a new vessel, which is cargo, for cargo handling. And on Lake Tanganyika, we are also planning to build one freight vessel and passenger vessel. Honorable Ministers, on the port subsector, we have significantly improved the port of Dar es Salaam, and its capacity has been increased from handling 15 million tons up to 30 million tons. And currently we are engaging private operators so as to improve the efficiency of the port.
Various stakeholders concur that effective corridor management are key in optimizing trade routes and therefore a critical component in realizing the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. There is a common message here that African countries have to increase trade among themselves in order to sustain growth. Denis Sigoa for UBC News on the shores of Lake Tanganyika in Burundi.
Today we have had our 10th graduation, and the most unique thing about our 10th graduation is today we have graduated the Pioneer 2 executive bankers. These are people who have finished our second level of the Chartered Banker program, which is the premium program for anybody who wants to get into banking. We have 3 levels. The first level, somebody becomes a certified professional banker. The second level, they become an executive banker. And the third level is they'll be a chartered banker. And these chartered bankers are recognized globally. So today we are delighted to have our 2 first become executive bankers.
clothes as possible at a time. Heating an iron from cold operating temperature uses more electricity than keeping it hot. Switch off the ironing box or flat iron when not in use. Avoid ironing during peak hours. Use instant water heaters for heating water instead of traditional water heaters. Seal all leakages on the water heating system. Insulate water lines from water heaters. And last but not least, when heating water on the stove, make sure the saucepan is covered.